We work, we live, we innovate, and create. At the center of it all is your brain health. The ability to solve problems, think analytically, share empathy, and thrive.
We're trying to make brain performance really the next fitness revolution.
Scientific discoveries show that your brain can adapt and grow regardless of your starting point. The Center for Brain Health can show you how to transform your mind to work stronger and faster.
We learned from a national poll that 95% of people want to do something about their brains. The problem is they don't know where or how to start. At the Center for Brain Health, we have easy-to-use, scientifically proven tools to provide people a proactive path to do just that, to help people everywhere improve their quality of life through brain health. What's exciting is that it's easy to start, and starting is urgent because we are in a brain health crisis.
So how do you boost your brain power? How can better brain health help you focus on what's most important?
Brain training is a part of the way that we would distinguish ourselves from others. Quite frankly, I think it's going to be commonplace in businesses in years to come.
We are seeing an epidemic of mental health concerns. Stress and overload lead to depression, anxiety, and burnout. Our brains hold the key to navigate these hurdles. It's never too soon to start.
I think the greatest national security threat is pre-K through 12. If we don't take care of educating our young men and women, then we have to ask ourselves, where are we going to be in 20 years?
Research shows training middle schoolers how to think, problem solve, and innovate significantly improves academic achievement. Even more importantly, it enhances confidence and well-being for them to thrive throughout their lives.
It really helps the kid and it builds their stamina. I genuinely credit my success in the classroom from this program.
The key to the future is stronger brain health for individuals and communities. Ready to transform the world with us? Be a part of the brain health revolution. It starts here.
Welcome everybody to the Center for Brain Health, and what an awesome thing to have people looking for a seat to sit down. So that is a great place for us to be. So again, welcome to our first annual Brain Health Week here at Center for Brain Health. How have we been doing at Family Fun Week? Have we learned anything today? Awesome. Awesome. We're going to learn some more today. Let me tell you a little bit about us. So we are part of the University of Texas at Dallas, and we are singularly focused on helping brains stay healthier longer. And we do that through basic cognitive neuroscience. That's a mouthful. And what it's all about is really empowering you how to help your brains be better. We combine leading-edge cognitive neuroscience, which we've been doing for over 20 years, working with not only doing core research, but working directly with individuals like military, both active duty and retired, first responders, teachers, parents, and students. So you name it, we've trained them. So we're going to have 4 parts to our program right now. So first, and this is so cool, we're going to hear from Stephen Lee, who is, and I'm going to get this right, the Deputy Project Manager for Operations and Anomalies at NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab in Pasadena. How awesome is that? Yeah, how cool. During his career at NASA, he's been involved with the Mars Perseverance Rover, the Ingenuity helicopter, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, the Hubble Space Telescope, the International Space Station, and the Space Shuttle. I feel inadequate. I mean, we're blessed to have him. Outside of work, obviously he's busy, but he does aviation photography, aviation archaeology, which I didn't know it existed, but it does, scuba diving, and he's on a quest to visit all 423 national park units across the states, and he's on number 354 right now. Pretty cool. Next will be Michaela Rodriguez and Lisa Bracken from KERA. Michaela is the managing producer for Podcasts with KERA, which is the public radio station here in North Texas. I'm sure all of you listen in routinely. And Lisa is their director of education. Let me go on to my notes so I don't forget. Michaela's leading a team creating a brand new podcast for children and parents, focusing on mindfulness in the brain. And guess what? Y'all are the first to see a sneak preview of that program. So they're here to help us with that today. And then finally, remember y'all heard about some tools for brain health where you're going to practice a tool today with the help of Ashley Alarcon, who's going to do a mindfulness exercise with us. She's a flutist and young musicians manager, that's hard to say, with the Dallas Symphony Orchestra, born and raised in Mexico City. She is a soloist all throughout Mexico and the U.S. Tremendous talent. She received her degree at the University of Mexico. And I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to get the heck out of the way and turn it over to Stephen Lee from NASA. Thank you all for coming today.
Thank you, Steve, for that great introduction. Appreciate it. I'm going to give a very quick overview of how NASA and JPL are exploring Mars and some of the things we have to come in the future. Only about 10 minutes or so. We'll take some questions. I'll be available after the session, so if anyone wants to come ask some more questions, I'm very happy to answer those questions. So perseverance, curiosity, and mindfulness. Let me tell you a little especially about, let's start with curiosity. A key question that humans have been asking for literally thousands of years, it goes back to about 600 BC in ancient Greece, is, are we alone? Is there life anywhere in the universe outside of Earth? And we are very privileged now to live in a wonderful era where we can systematically start to answer that question. And we've been doing that at Mars. We have plans to do that elsewhere in the solar system. I won't be able to talk to that today. I can answer questions afterwards. But let's talk about, well, how do you go about doing that? It's not an easy thing. But it starts with looking at Earth. Well, there's life on Earth all over the place. And what does that look like? And it turns out on Earth, you may notice, wherever there's water, there's life. So the key ingredients we know are a liquid water environment and what's called organics. All life on Earth are bodies. Anyone have pets, dogs or cats? Yep. Guess what? They're made out of organics. All these wonderful creatures you see here, including my dog, are made out of organic material. So guess what? We decided to go to Mars and start looking for places that once had water and have evidence of organics. Well, why Mars in particular, right? I think everyone knows Mars, it's a long way away, deeper into space, farther away from the sun. You look at it today, everyone recognizes this, they call it the red planet. It's a very dry, doesn't look like a nice place to live. But we now know, because for the last about 40 years, there's been explorations of Mars in different ways, and we now know and suspect very strongly that Mars used to look something like this, a lot more like Earth, including lots and lots of liquid water on the surface. So it's a great place to go look to see if there was ever life on Mars. We still don't know. As much exploring as we've done, we still don't know if there's ever been life outside of the Earth. We're able to bring, as I think people know, build robots, and that's JPL's specialty, is we build robots and send robots, and then we control them from Earth. So we haven't yet sent any people to Mars. We send robots there, and those robots do the scientific exploration for us. But of course, it's very hard to send a robot there, and these robots, including this rover that I work on right now, the Perseverance Mars Rover, it's about the size of a car. And you can think of the kind of instruments you need to really understand in a rock. Well, was that rock ever soaked in water? Is there organics there? You need sophisticated instruments to do that. And we can only fit small instruments inside this rover the size of a car. So while they're great and the most sophisticated instruments we've ever sent to Mars, they're still not good enough to finalize that question, was there ever life? It gives us some early tantalizing hints, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute, but we don't know for sure. The best way to know for sure is to go get samples of Mars and bring them back to Earth, because on Earth, we can send some of the pieces of those samples to laboratories here that have much more sophisticated instruments. And not only that, we can send them to many laboratories all over the world. They can conduct the same experiments and see if they get the same results. So that's why we really, to be able to help finalize that the answer to that question, was there ever life on Mars, we want to bring rocks back. It's a hard thing to do, bringing rocks back from Mars. It's hard enough to just send one of our robots to Mars. To bring rocks back actually takes multiple missions. There is an international effort now underway to go finally answer this question. It starts with a rover to go do the initial exploration, collect the rock samples, put them in sealed tubes, and then deliver those sealed tubes to mission number 2 of 3, a lander, very, very big lander. And the reason it has to be such a big lander is buried inside here is a rocket. So we're gonna land a rocket on the surface. The rover will bring the samples over. You can see there's an arm here, and that arm will let us transfer the tubes one at a time and put it in the nose cone of the rocket after we've loaded hopefully 30 samples inside tubes, inside the nose cone. It'll be in a canister. Then we'll cover up the nose cone, and the rocket then will launch that canister into Mars orbit. And now that canister with 30 samples on board will be orbiting around Mars. End of mission 2. Enter mission 3. This is a key European contribution. The European Space Agency is providing an orbiter, which will then be in Mars orbit. It will rendezvous with that sample canister, capture the canister, seal it up again to make sure it stays safe, and then actually for the first time will break orbit, leave Mars, and then come all the way back to Earth. This is happening in the early 2030s, and we're hoping somewhere around 2033, then that sample canister inside an entry vehicle will be released from that European Mars orbiter, enters Earth's atmosphere, and land in the Utah Test and Training Range outside Salt Lake City to be recovered, and then get the samples out and do the analysis that we really want to be doing. So like, as I said, it is a very sophisticated, complicated, challenging, complex international mission, and it's a real exciting set of missions to be a part of. But as I said, the process is underway. So Perseverance landed, it was actually 2 years ago last Saturday that we landed on the surface of Mars and have now begun our explorations. This is a picture taken from an orbiter showing, it's kind of like a map that you might see on Google Earth or Apple Maps or something, and it's several miles across, something like 15 or 20 miles across, and this shows you, I'm not going to go through all the details, but this was our landing site right here, and this white line shows where the rover has driven. We drove down here and explored, we drove up and around here and explored, and we explored up in this area, and each of these red marks indicates where we've taken samples of rock, because there's something of geologic interest. What we're really excited about, and the whole reason we went to this place called Jezero Crater, is we know this entire area in ancient Mars, there was once a meteorite. You know what a meteorite is? You know, it comes in and comes through the atmosphere and it hits the ground and makes a crater. Well, this came in and made kabwam, a huge crater, and the crater was so deep that, guess what? Mars at the time had water, and now this empty crater ended up filling up with water, and we know that there were rivers and streams flowing into this now lake of Jezero. And right here, these features in the upper left corner you see, it's actually part of a river delta where the river came in and entered the lake and slowed down and deposited all sorts of mud and rocks and things. And a river delta, you think of like the Mississippi River Delta in Louisiana, is a very rich environment, a great place for life to arise. So we decided to come here to look for that. And as you can see, we made our way here, and we've had lots of exploration. We spent a lot of time here, and we've collected multiple samples of this area because it is so compelling from a standpoint of being able to hopefully answer that question about life. So as I mentioned, we call it Jezero the delta front. It's the very front side of that river delta. These are the sort of investigations we do. We have a tool on board that can what we call abrade the rock. So basically it kind of grinds off part of the rock and then you can see what's inside. And then if we like what we see inside and it looks like it's something we want, then you can see this is at the end. There's a big robot arm at the end of the rover, and the robot arm has a drill and it can drill into the rock and collect a core sample, and it then brings that sample inside the body of the rover, and then inside the body of the rover we seal it and store it. And what have we found on the delta front so far? Well, it's been, oh, there we go. We're a little laggy. There we go. And the good news is when we did this abrasion and looked at it with our sophisticated tools, you can almost tell the rock itself, it's not like big chunks of rock. It's very, very fine, and it's very, very small material, and it most likely is what we call a mudstone, which is great. That's what we're looking for, mud. That was in water. And then some of our instruments have given us hints that there is organics embedded in this rock. Again, we are not sophisticated enough on Mars with these instruments to answer the question, do those organics say there was life or not? Because there's other ways you can get organics aside from life. We need to bring these kind of rocks back so we can investigate them in detail and help answer that question. There we go. And I'll just flash this up. You can see these are images of all our abrasions and all of our core samples we've taken since landing. And what I'll leave you with is a video, because as I mentioned, these are very challenging, exciting, difficult missions. And you can imagine that we work for literally years. The Perseverance team worked for something like 8 years designing, building, trying to make sure this vehicle is going to work. And one of the most challenging things is actually landing on Mars. In fact, in the history of Mars exploration, there have been numerous missions that have tried to land on Mars. We've had a lot of success at JPL, but it doesn't always succeed. And Mars is so far away that it takes, if you try to communicate with a rover on Mars, it takes so long for the signal to get there, so long for it to come back, that you can't control the entry, descent, and landing. The landing on Mars, you can't control from Earth. The robot is totally on its own, and so has to land safely automatically. And so on Earth, we're just watching and hoping, and when you get to Mars, you have to deal with the atmospheric entry. There's high heat from the friction. You have to have parachutes, you'll see. You have to have thrusters to be able to slow down. You have to touch down safely. All the sensors have to work. Many, many things have to work, and it's out of our control. Our design has to stand for itself. And so this gives you an idea of what it's like to be someone who has gone through years and years and poured your life into this vehicle and the design. Those nerve-wracking moments, we call it the 7 minutes of terror, because it takes 7 minutes from entering the atmosphere to when you land. It's 7 minutes of terror, not knowing if these things work. And of course, as you can imagine, at every step of the way, when things do work, it's very exciting and there's a cause for celebration. So let me show you this video.
We are starting the straighten up and fly right maneuver, where the spacecraft will jettison the entry balance masses in preparation for parachute deploy and to roll over to give the radar a better look at the ground.
Alpha indicates chute deploy.
The navigation has confirmed that the parachute has deployed, and we are seeing significant deceleration in the velocity. Our current velocity is 430 meters per second at an altitude of about 12 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
Heat shield set.
Perseverance is now slowed to subsonic speeds, and the heat shield has been separated. This allows both the radar and the cameras to get their first look at the surface.
This video is from cameras on board the vehicle. So this is actual video that occurred 2 years ago.
9.5 kilometers above the surface.
Nav filter converged. Velocity solution 3.3 meters per second. Altitude 7.4 kilometers.
Now has radar lock on the ground. Current velocity is about 100 meters per second, 6.6 kilometers of the surface. Perseverance is continuing to descend on the parachute. We are coming up on the initialization of terrain relative navigation and subsequently the priming of the landing engines. Our current velocity is about 90 meters per second at an altitude of 4.2 kilometers.
So this is a camera looking down, and you can start seeing the landing site now.
Valid solutions and part of terrain relative navigation.
Right. TBA is nominal.
We have priming of the landing engines.
So until now it was on the parachute, which is why it was moving around so much. Once we came off the parachute and we're flying with the jetpack, it stabilizes a lot.
We have confirmation that the back shell has separated. We are currently performing the divert maneuver. Current velocity is about 75 meters per second and an altitude of about a kilometer off the surface of Mars.
TRN 50 Bravo.
We have completed our terrain relative navigation. Current speed is about 30 meters per second, altitude of about 300
We're coming down
meters.
fast now, and pretty soon you'll see dust kicking up. That's the thrusters from our jetpack touching the ground.
Constant velocity accordion, which means we are conducting the sky crane.
And there's two more videos on the left for cameras looking up at the jet backpack on the upper left in the rover as it was deployed on a bridle being set down in a sky crane maneuver.
Beginning signals from MRO. Tango Delta.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the sands of past life.
So with that, I'll be happy to take a couple of quick questions, and again, I'll be available afterwards if people have more questions. So anyone have any questions? Yes?
Why does it take so long?
Testing, Glenn.
I'll repeat the question. Go ahead.
Why does it take so long to complete 3 missions?
Why does it take so long to complete 3 missions? That's an outstanding question. Most of the time is spent coming up with the design. It's so complicated and sophisticated. It takes a long time to come up with the design, and it also takes several years for us to make sure that design is going to work. We'll do testing, like the radar, for example, that senses where the ground is so we know how high up we are. We will take the radar and go test it on an airplane here on Earth. And so we put it on an F-18. Anyone see Top Gun Maverick? Same kind of plane. We put our radar on a pod on a wing, and out in the desert of California flew it in profiles to make sure the radar is going to work. It tested on a helicopter. Those kind of tests take many months, and then when you have to do several of those many months tests, it ends up taking several years. But that is an outstanding question, to be careful. So.
One more question back here, Steve.
Okay.
How big is the solar system from the sun to the edge of the Oort cloud?
Oh boy, how big is the solar system to the edge of the Oort cloud? So I can tell you that it's tens and tens of millions of miles. Millions of miles, right? Here to the moon is maybe 250,000 miles. And so it is humongous, the solar system. And there's something called the Oort cloud, which is you think of all the planets all the way out to Neptune and even Pluto, and way beyond that, there's a thing called an Oort cloud. So I don't know the exact number, but I think it may even be hundreds of millions of miles. So, okay, well, thank you very much, everyone. Again, if you have questions afterwards, come up and talk to me, and I'll be happy to chat with you some more. So next, I believe we're going to hear from Lisa and Michaela about the blog that you have. There you are.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Today we're here to talk to you about our upcoming kids podcast, Tiempo Tranquilo, which can anyone in the audience who speaks Spanish tell us what that means? Yeah. What do you think? Yes, calm time. That's perfect. Exactly. So our podcast is about mindfulness and de-stressing. Okay, so this podcast will be bilingual. There's going to be 16 episodes. 8 of them will be in full Spanish, and then 8 of them will be in Spanglish, so English with some Spanish elements. It's highly immersive. There will be mindfulness exercises that parents and children can do together. And the idea is that it is interactive, so it should be fun, even though it will be calming. And we plan to launch this late this spring. And then you're probably wondering, where can I get this? This is everyone's big question. It will be available on all of these platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and then, of course, YouTube. We know everybody loves YouTube, ourselves included. Cool. Lisa's going to tell you a little bit about our audience and the research.
Thank you, Michaela. So you all probably know us from like our television, right? Like PBS Kids, Sesame Street, Wild Kratts, right? Like we have some watchers in here, I hope. So this is our first time doing a children's podcast. So when we came up with the concept, we went out into the community and we wanted to find out like what were people interested in, what would they want to hear. And so here are two of the families that we talked to. Sylvia and Patty are the moms here. And we kept hearing some reoccurring themes that families were saying, like mindfulness came up. We'd love some calm time, bedtime. What about a podcast before bed that's calming? What about in the car, right? And so we started listening really well to what the community said. And so we put all of that together into a podcast. We're going to share our first excerpt with you all, our first group to get to hear it. We're really excited that you are going to hear it just about 3 minutes. So it's going to be about 8 minutes long, but you're just going to hear a cut of it. And then we're going to do a mindfulness activity together. Okay. Are we ready to hear it?
Yes, so what you're about to hear is an exercise to help you calm down when you're feeling scared or upset. And it's actually hosted by Eden, who's here. Hi, Eden. Thank you. Cool. All right, so again, it's about 3 minutes.
Today, I want to talk to you about spaceships and astronauts, and share a time when I was feeling scared. I recently checked out a new book at the library. It's called El Niño que Alcanzó las Estrellas. The book is about a Mexican-American astronaut, Jose Hernandez, and his journey to space. While I read the book, something Jose wrote stood out to me. He was talking about when the spaceship was launching. Jose said, "When the moment arrived to blast off, my heart was beating very fast. We entered the space shuttle, adjusted our seatbelts, and anxiously waited for the blast off. 3, 2, 1, blast off!" Can you imagine what that was like? Let's close our eyes and think about outer space and the stars, the moon, and taking off in a rocket. Wait, I felt scared imagining going to space. Did your heart also start beating fast? Have you ever felt this way during times when you were feeling scared? When you were scared, what did you do to calm yourself down? There's something I like to do that helps me feel calm. Why don't we try it together? Let's turn down our lights and grab our favorite stuffed animal or pillow. My favorite stuffed animal is Clifford. He's super soft. Put your stuffed animal or pillow under your knees and head. Take your hand and put it on your tummy. Now let's breathe in together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did you feel your heartbeat slowing down like I did? Mine sounded like a small drum. I'm already starting to feel better. When you start to feel scared and feel your heart racing, think of the exercise we just did together and give it a try. It can help you feel better too.
All right, thank you for listening so much, and thanks, Eden. Cool.
Do you feel calmer after that? I saw a lot of eyes closed. I saw some like really good breathing. Stephen, you talked about the 7 minutes of terror. I think this could help, right, with the team, like as you're coming down from orbit and that calming space. Well, we're going to do a mindfulness activity and experience with you. Everybody should have gotten a piece of paper that has a name of the podcast on it and a pencil. And if you don't, grown-ups too, if you don't, raise your hand and we'll make sure that you have one. All right, looks like everybody has it. So we have our wonderful musician here with us. She's going to be playing the flute with the Dallas Symphony Orchestra, Ashley. And as she's playing, what we want you to do is we want you to take that piece of paper and we want you to draw what you're feeling. You can draw anything you want. You might even put some words on there as well. This is only for you. You're not going to turn it in. Nobody else is going to see it. But as she plays, like write down, how are you feeling? What do those emotions feel like? Okay? So we're going to have her play, and then we'll just, you guys will be able to talk about what it is that you drew afterwards. Thank you. Oh, okay. Thank you, Ashley. That was absolutely stunning. I saw a lot of drawing. And if you want to even write down what your feelings were as you were going through and listening to that beautiful piece that Ashley presented us with. So to close our session today, we're going to end with a mindfulness activity. Michaela is going to lead us through this, but it's cool. It's called dragon breathing. Has anybody ever done like dragon breath before? Anyone heard of that? Yeah, I see one mom says, yeah, cool. All right. Michaela, you want to come up and show them how it is? We're going to, first she's going to tell you a couple things, and then she's going to dragon breathe.
Okay, sometimes these mindfulness activities will feel a little goofy. That's on purpose. It's supposed to be fun. But there's actually health benefits to doing this. Some of them include things like lowering your blood pressure, reducing stress and anxiety, and just helping you feel calm. So these are great things to do when you're feeling overwhelmed or even angry. It can bring you back down. So yeah, we're going to do dragons breathing. Here's written instructions, but I'm going to show you as well. Yeah. Okay, can everyone still hear me? Even though, okay. Cool. So we're going to start by going like this. Put your fingers under your chin. These are now wings. We're wings now, okay? And then while you inhale through your nose, we're going to lift our wings up. And then we're going to exhale through our mouths and make a little dragon, okay? All right, ready? All right, let's do it. Inhale and exhale. We're going to do it 5 times. Okay, inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Yeah. Inhale and exhale. All right, and then last one, we're gonna do like a little loud dragon. Okay. Inhale, and now your best dragon roar on the exhale. All right, thank you. Cool. Okay, so we have a little booth outside, and you can come out and make an affirmation bracelet, which is really fun, your favorite words of affirmation. And we'll also be there to ask any questions, and you can sign up for our education newsletter to get more information on the podcast and our other educational offerings. All right, thank you.
Awesome. All right, so let's have a big round of applause for all of our speakers today. Who thought we'd have essentially Scotty from Star Trek here telling us how this works? That's Stephen Lee. We've got Michaela and Lisa from KERA bringing us something brand new that you can share for your families. And Ashley gifted us with that great thing. And I will tell you, I practice a mindfulness tip like that, and that's a tip, right? These are tips on how to get started. When I drive home from work, the last thing I do for about 15 minutes before I get home is listen to KERA, and I listen to their concert series and their classic music series, because it just helps me down-regulate and have me be a little bit better me when I get home, which is always a good thing. And one of my big takeaways today was it's okay to be goofy. Right? Goofy is actually good for reducing stress, so don't let yourself get too bogged down in what you're doing. So again, thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you all for being here today. We have over 60 community partners who have helped us make this happen this week. Look for a brief survey. We'd love your feedback after today, so next year can be even better. 3 things we'd ask you to think about doing today. So this isn't just about listening, it's about what can we do. Right? One thing we'd like you to do is keep learning tips, right? BrainHealth shouldn't be hard. Tips are easy. So check our website out for no-brainers, and they're all based in science, but we call them no-brainers, right? They're quick tips. Also, if you're a grown-up, kids, you'll be there soon, please sign up for the BrainHealth Project. Based on 30 years of science, 80% of those participating who actually practice what we teach them, 80% of them get better. Their brain health improves. So maybe you'll fall into that group as well. Now here's the easy part. It's free. All you need to do is log in and join up. And last but not least, please share this with your friends, right? It's not just about you, it's about our whole community. So, and if you did, who signed up for the Brain Health Text Challenge? Raise your hand. All right. I've challenged my own team. We're probably about 5,000 people right now. By the end of the week, I want us to be at 100,000. So share the challenge with 10 friends, 10 family members, right? We're going to make this thing go viral. If the Ice Bucket Challenge can go viral, the Brain Health Text Challenge can go viral. So again, brain health starts with each and every one of us. Kids, it's about you. You can remind your parents to be brain healthy. Parents, remind your kids to be brain healthy, because remember, if you're more brain healthy, your community is, your family is, and the world is. That's what we're all about. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to our guests. Thank you.